Hello and welcome to another in our series of Brown Bag Colloquia. Today our presenter is Dr. Christine Gata-Chelder, Assistant Professor of Psychology at Stockton University. Her topic today is Weaving Wellness into Advising and Teaching. Recently, Christine was awarded the Provost's Research and Professional Development Award in Academic Advising. This award will fund her conference trip to the National Academic Advising Region 2 Conference in Richmond, Virginia next month. She'll be presenting this very same topic there, so we wish her well and congratulations again on the award. Christine has also served for 2 years on the Stockton Advising Council. So we're very happy to have her today, and thank you again for presenting for us, Christine.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Well, welcome. Thank you for coming. I wanted to give you a very brief background on why this topic really speaks to me. As a member of the Advising Council, this was a report that we reviewed, and it really spoke to me. So a little background why this research was of such great interest to me. I am a licensed psychologist, and so for years I've worked in the field counseling people about this issue of wellness. And I specialize in neuropsychology. I've, over the years, worked with a lot of people with traumatic brain injury, stroke, now mainly dementia. So of course, as a psychologist, the idea of wellness among college students was exciting to me. But also, when it was brought up at the Advising Council meeting, how many of you could relate to this one idea of if college students felt cared for by a professor, inspired, it affected their life? That was me. My hand was up very quickly. My undergraduate institution is with me every day in everything I do. And I'm going to try to highlight that here, how I've tried to carry on the tradition of those faculty in my teaching and advising. And this is very interactive. I want you all to join in as well, how it applies to you.
Where did you go to school?
Marywood College, which is now Marywood University. Back in my day, it was Marywood College. Small. Now, again, university, but they've still stayed small. So I had very inspirational faculty, tough, challenging faculty. I think that's important to note, as I will throughout this. We still need to have accountability and rigor with our students, but we can convey wellness initiatives, caring, concern for them. So again, I had that experience. You'll see I teach a course here, The Psychology of Well-Being, and I'm going to talk about ways to bring that into advising and teaching. This is a little clip art that I use for many of my talks about the brain, but I thought it was relevant today as well. There's a brain. We here at Stockton want to create intellectual, academic stimulation. We want to grow those neurons and brain cells. Again, bear with me, I'm a neuropsychologist. But look at the roots, look at the sunshine. That's what this is about. It's not just about what our students learn in the classroom, but what we're teaching them about life in general and how we can cultivate that, allow that to grow and blossom. I just love that clip art. So this 2014 Gallup-Purdue Index report, Great Jobs, Great Lives, they evaluated more than 30,000 college graduates throughout the US. As someone who teaches experimental psychology here, I was very impressed with 30,000, nice, robust group. The introduction of the report, just wanted to highlight something for you. I just thought the first sentence was very compelling. For years, the value of a college degree has been determined not by the most important outcomes of a college education, but the easiest outcomes to measure, such as job, grad school placement, rates, and alumni salaries. Usually the first job out of college is what they'll look at. While these metrics have some merit, they do not provide a holistic view of college graduates' lives. So that's what this was getting at. The Gallup-Purdue Index report was assessing workplace engagement, alumni attachment to their alma mater, and a well-being index consisting of 10 items that assess 5 areas of well-being. I think in today's world, we hear a lot about mindfulness and well-being thrown around. What does it really, really mean, and why is it important? Just to summarize from that report, when you think about purpose well-being, It is liking what you do each day, being motivated to achieve your goals. I just wanted to review with you a sample question from that questionnaire. Purpose, well-being. I like what I do every day. I learn or do something interesting every day. So having that sense of liking what you do, being motivated to achieve your goals. Social well-being, having strong and supportive relationships and love in your life. Healthy relationships, as I tell my students in psych of well-being, not toxic relationships. Learning what healthy relationships are in the workplace and beyond, your personal life. Financial well-being, isn't this an important one today for our students? Many, I know some students working 2, yes, even 3 jobs. I had a student come up to me a couple years ago with tears in his eyes. Professor, I'm going to miss class this week. I'm sorry. I have an interview for my 3rd job. Great student, never missed a class, and he was concerned. Well, fortunately, he went on the interview. He said, I can't do 3 jobs in full time. And I hear you. I'm glad you said no. But this is what our students are facing. And what is financial well-being? Effectively managing your economic life to reduce stress and increase security. And our students are working multiple jobs, facing student loan debt, which we'll talk about, how we can all guide them, how to handle things beyond the degree earned. Community well-being, the sense of engagement you have with the areas you live, liking where you live. They did not look at what we might term more mental health, emotional, behavioral well-being. Very good point. But I thought overall for 10 items, again, that's something important in research. If it's too lengthy a questionnaire, you may lose people. But I would say within my field, the social purpose community does kind of tie that in some way. But you know, there is a range on this scale. Are you struggling in this area? Are you thriving? So there was a way where folks could indicate where they fell along the continuum. That makes sense. So many findings from this report. I'm going to just highlight some today as they're going to apply to wellness and what, again, we can cultivate in the classroom and advising. If graduates perceived they had a faculty member who cultivated excitement about learning, cared for them, their odds of thriving in well-being and being engaged at work more than doubled. Remember, they also looked at work engagement, how involved are you, enjoying your work. If graduates felt their institution prepared them well for life outside of the college environment, the odds that they engaged at work increased almost 3 times. If graduates had projects that took a semester or more to complete, their odds of being engaged at work doubled. I like that one because we all know as faculty and advisors, all our roles here at Stockton University, yes, we may get the complaints about workload. But this is down the line, college graduates, when they reflect back, if they had those intense projects, it helped them, it helped them. Maybe we need to remind them of that. This is going to apply outside these walls. And it is not where you go, but how you do it that has an impact. Under the executive summary, they noted that what they found was where graduates went to college hardly matters at all to their current well-being in their work lives. So it doesn't matter how big the institution is, how selective, private, public, it's what are we doing? I like that. Again, as someone who went to a small undergraduate college, now university, Marywood, no, it wasn't a big name. But when I went to graduate school, I was so amazed by how when we had to take our 2nd year, they were called comprehensive exams on the way to the doctoral degree. My notes from Marywood classes, I shared with 15 other students. They went to bigger name places, and they didn't have the knowledge base I had. So kind of made me champion for our great institutions that maybe don't have that big name or as high selection, but it's how you do it. It's not where, it's how you do it. What can we do and how? There's a lot of things I'm going to review that I reflected upon that we can all incorporate. There is a general studies course I teach, the psychology of well-being. I did not design this course, but I was asked to teach it along the way here. Turns out some of our students are actually really encouraged to take this class if they've had some problems on campus, perhaps. But many students just take it as a general studies in the social sciences. And we cover many things about well-being, probably more traditional emotional well-being, mindfulness, motivation, how do you get people to change, positive thinking, stress management, relaxation, how to prioritize your goals, mindful eating. We have a lot of fun with that. Has anyone, show of hands, ever learned how to eat mindfully? Slowly, take your time. I bring into class Nutella Bella from Carluccio's Pizza in Northfield. If you haven't been there, you just haven't lived yet. Great place, and they have this dessert called Nutella Bella, like pizza dough with Nutella inside. We actually sit in class, we smell it, we look at the texture, we learn to eat mindfully. Now, I've taught this class 3 times. As someone who taught health psych for a long time, I didn't know how it would be received. I certainly looked at other syllabi of other faculty. The feedback it continues to fascinate me. Everyone should have to take this course. Students keep telling me this. One student wrote in an IDEA about, there is not one day I go without thinking and relating things I've learned in this class and applying it to my life. I ran into a student a few weeks ago who said, because of that class, I cut down my hours at work, I still got a promotion. It's a course that, again, it's not group psychotherapy. Let me make that clear. As a psychologist, I have professional boundaries. I think we all share. It's not a class where we're all meditating together and sharing troubles. It's just presenting techniques and discussing them. But students love it. And it's general studies. So I have students in business, economics, philosophy, political science, and the health sciences, of course, but it's very broad. I've been very pleasantly surprised by how excited they are about this class. They really, really are grateful. What aspects of well-being can be incorporated into your courses? Now, I'd like to start with the financial because, again, that is not my field at all. I could use a few good classes, probably in economics and finances. But I have, in presenting this today, talked to some of my colleagues, and there are ways, many of you are already doing this in the classroom setting, talking about finances broadly, but that can be taken outside of the classroom. Those of you in physical therapy can certainly be bringing in life lessons. I know there are some faculty here who do meditation before at the end of class just to do it, to somehow bring in wellness in any course. Many of my colleagues have talked about, they mentioned throughout the semester, how's it going? They'll kind of check in with the class and say, you know, one faculty member I know will say, give this your all, please. I know we're halfway through the semester, you may be getting tired, but this course can have an impact on just learning how to excel at something. Please give your all to this class. And then if you decide to apply to grad school in 5 years and you didn't give your all and you got a C, you'll be crying. Work with me. Keep the momentum up, because we know that can happen. Students can look at a particular course and think, so what? I get a B, I get a C, I get a D. A lot of my colleagues talk about past jobs they've had, working in waste management, working in the coal mines. Students love these life lessons. They really do. They come away inspired. So there's certainly a formal class a student can take, such as psychology of well-being. But again, think about your own course. Is there a way in any course, and we'll go on with more ideas, but just right now, you know, pause and think, is there something I could be saying and instilling? A work ethic, a well-being ethic. We are role models more than we realize in instilling well-being. I have a little case example. How 2 students taught me something valuable I forgot quite recently. This just happened. Well, the SIRE course, I did a summer intensive research experience with Dr. Jessica Fleck. We've done 3. This is the first one we did about 3 or 4 years ago. There were 2 students I met, Kate and Jamie. They've given me permission to talk to you all and read some of their feedback. Kate and Jamie I never had in the classroom at Stockton. They were never my advisees, but they were 2 of 6 students in the summer intensive research experience. So I got to know them doing research with older adults. I was teaching them techniques of scoring neuropsych assessments, data collection. I really just had to conduct a really good research study with folks in our community, older adults. At some point, they approached me. They wanted to talk to me about grad school, so I met with them several times. And at one point, they were getting very anxious and talking about how scared they were. And I told them, look, you know, there's struggles along the way. And when I was in grad school, I was disappointed. I didn't get a fellowship I wanted, or I had a really tough supervisor one year. They actually, and I have something to share with you in writing that Jamie wrote, they actually said this meant so much to them. They really thought and perceived that Stockton faculty are just brilliant and everything is smooth. This was just fascinating to me because they said if anything really helped them, it was when I explained the struggles of grad school, that it doesn't end when you just get in grad school. As many of you may know, you have internship, practicum, dissertations. There are struggles. A show of hands if anyone has had a challenging advisor in grad school. Okay. Yeah. It's challenging. So our trials and struggles can inspire, and it did seem to enhance their wellness, if you will, because they just felt better, more that emotional well-being. Jamie has allowed me to share with you, when I went up for a full-time position at Stockton, Jamie, unsolicited, said, please let me write you a letter. And she wanted to write about her experience of knowing me, again, not in the classroom, just in the SIRE. As an undergraduate student who is surrounded by wonderfully brilliant professors, pat yourselves all on the back, I came to the assumption that every single one of them was accepted to their top choices for doctorate programs, had nearly perfect GRE scores, and that they were the shining stars of their programs. However, Dr. Gata-Chelder assured me that this was not always so. I mean, certainly every one of you are very brilliant, but there are struggles. She shared her own personal stories about grad school that made me realize she experienced what I am experiencing now, and that not everything was as perfect for any of my professors as I imagined. Her stories also provided me with decreased anxiety about my future and a new hope for what is to come. I had no idea. Just talking about some struggles in grad school would have that kind of impact. Jamie also wrote in this letter at the start, one of the greatest things about Stockton is her ability to converse with a professor in any setting other than the classroom. Everyone was always so available to answer questions, professional, personal, or philosophical with enthusiasm. She starts this letter raving about Stockton, which is, I think, something you all should right now, again, pat yourself on the back. Jamie is now in a graduate program at William Patterson. She's getting her master's in counseling. She called me a year ago. They could not provide her with an internship at William Patterson. Those of you in gerontology will appreciate this. William Patterson told her, no one here wants to work with old people. We have no internship for you, Jamie. Jamie called me. We've stayed in touch. Is there any way possibly you could help me? And this was going to be a tough time commitment, but we've made it work. Jamie right now today is at an assisted living in Vineland where I go once a week. It's worked out great. And she's going to finish her hours in May. She'll have all her hours in gerontology. I'm supervising her, counseling older adults in an assisted living setting. She runs groups. She's dynamic. She's going to be a great psychotherapist one day. Again, to reframe to all of us, how great that a graduate of ours can feel comfortable if we just instill a little well-being and inspiration to call us, hey, could you help me out? And I told William Patterson, if you need me again, let me know. Well, no one here really wants to work in gerontology. Well, better for Jamie. She'll have all the South Jersey clients. She's looking to relocate back down here. I want to make it clear, too, because as a psychologist, I work in professional boundaries. We don't sit there talking about ourselves. We're not supposed to do that. And as faculty, we also want to be professional. The things I shared with Kate and Jamie, again, were very lighthearted, but just that, you know, I was disappointed I didn't get this fellowship. I didn't get that. It was upbeat. It was lighthearted. It wasn't detail. Something else I have found that's been very inspiring to students, in earning my license as a psychologist in the state of New Jersey, I was delayed about 3 years. I had to take my license 3 years later than I wanted to because I was caring for a loved one. I was engaged in caregiving. I've had many students lately, some of you have seen this, panic mode in terms of, I'm not going to get this done in time. I could get, hey, listen, can I just share something with you? It took me a few extra years to get my license as a psychologist, but it's okay. The earth didn't open up and swallow me. The look on a student's face, oh, you had a delay in something too? Don't you find our students are in this rush? I know we want them to get out in 4 years, but then they get panicky. I do not tell my students the details. I'm not telling any of you the details. I was just a caregiver. And that's all I'll say to students. You know, a little delayed in the license, had to do some caregiving, but it was okay. I had one student, also in education, who suddenly realized graduating in December, well, there wouldn't even be any jobs to apply to yet in education. So again, I know we've got to get our students in and out in 4 years. We are all trying, certainly. But sometimes they may need to know, they may need that little extra time. Does that make sense? Any nods, show of hands? Yeah, they're panicking. Projects that take a semester or more to complete to stimulate that purpose and community well-being that the report talks about. More and more, I am hearing from my colleagues who utilize service learning how great it is. And more I hear from the students, wow, I was out in the field. I was with people doing yoga, doing crafts at the nursing home. Dr. Jessica Fleck, my colleague, has students go out and talk about brain health in various facilities. The students just grow and blossom, just like that clip art I showed you before. The more we can do that, we are stimulating the purpose and community well-being. SIRE, Summer Intensive Research Experience. Again, I've had the great opportunity to work with my colleague, Dr. Fleck, on 3 SIRE courses where, again, they were all based on older adults in our community coming to campus, being assessed, trying to improve their brain health. Different group projects you can do in the classroom may indeed stimulate the purpose and community well-being. Years back when I first started here in 1998, I read my evaluations. Students wanted more group projects. I've been initiating more, and they come away learning new things. I do a lot of biomedical ethical dilemmas in my classrooms. Debates got very heated the other day in lifespan development, but I like that. We want them to think critically, engage in groups, and again, getting that sense of purpose, community well-being. Required readings that may inspire. Maybe you teach literature courses, again, more language arts based, or maybe not, whatever course it is. Is there an inspirational figure in the field who wrote a book that, again, can get across this idea of well-being in all of these ways? Again, any financial comments greatly appreciated, because that, I think, more and more is so heavy on the mind of our students. Managing their financial well-being. Other avenues to instill wellness. Teaching psychology of well-being taught me something. Students they need reminders. They are really not aware enough and paying attention enough to wellness center events, the counseling center, career services. I was an adjunct here for 10 years. Then I was in a visiting line for 3 years, and then tenure track. So in a way, I'm still kind of a newbie after 10 years of being an adjunct. The longer I'm here, when when I mentioned to students in psych well-being, first of all, they're required in psychology of well-being to attend 2 wellness center events and write about it. Did you all know this was going on? No, this was great. The soul collage. Please remind them, put it outside your door. All the wellness center events, career services. So many of my students bring me a resume or a personal essay. Have you shared this with anybody in career services? No. Do you know where they are? No. We need to remind them, because this is going to get back to way at the beginning when I talked about how students, how valuable it is when they feel cared for. You're showing your care. You're showing your concern. Really, as simple as putting it outside your door, reminding them in class. And again, the wellness center events my students have gone to, the papers, I wish you could all read them. I would bring them in. A lot of these students never even thought about wellness before. And any event, again, whether it's meditation, the soul collage, that's a very popular one. I think every faculty member should have to do a soul collage. Very inspiring to them. I just wanted to briefly also mention from the poll some of the more specific findings. Because I know you all received this in an attachment, but it's always nice to have some highlights. Here it is. And this is where we can all move forward and be on the cutting edge and work on this. Few college graduates achieve what they call the winning combination, in that only 14% of graduates strongly agree that they were supported by professors who cared, made them excited about learning, and encouraged their dreams. 14%. Yeah, is that kind of making anyone think? Because when, again, Paula brought this up at Academic Advising Council, how many of you felt cared for? You had your dreams encouraged. I mean, my hand just shot up very quickly. And I could tell you right now, it was really 2 professors at Marywood. And again, it wasn't anything earth-shattering they did, but they took time after class to chat. When I thought I failed one of my professor's exams, Dr. McCallum said, "If you're going to be a psychologist, Chris, you better know what you're doing. That's someone's life in your hands. You've got to know this stuff." And I got through it. When I thought about grad school and I started doubting my abilities, Dr. Martinetti said, "But Chris, this is what you want to do. You've said this all along. You can do it." I was thinking of going into a different field of health. And Dr. Martinetti, I mean, he was there. So I'm in that 14%. So I think I'd like to have a discussion about this, maybe open the floor. I know we need the microphone. Your thoughts on that? It's only 14%. Again, Jamie, her letter about Stockton. We are sending students out there who are feeling this connection, but maybe how you do it in the classroom, how we can do it more. Any comments? Because there's so much more we could talk about, but just try to get you thinking about wellness, different ways to bring it in.
Okay, well, I had the advantage any aspect of healthcare and aging, and I emphasize that I believe there should be parity between mental and physical health. Okay, if anything, my teaching and the way I interact with students is modeled not after the way I had came through college and grad school, but the opposite. What I didn't get, I try to give to my students. I have them tell stories. I call it personal narrative. It's part of the actual requirements for the course. And so I encourage them to go to all the extra co-curricular activities on campus and to use that as a source for one of the required assignments. So I don't make it an add-on. I don't make it extra credit. I said, look, you can weave this into the fabric of our class.
That is great.
And all these things we've been talking about here, I'm in the ELO, Maryland Study Group. These are all connected to ELOs as well. You know, adaptability to change. In gerontology, you know, we call it resilience. We call it resilience. One last thing, and then I'll give up the mic. Students think we drop from the sky in like some kind of a bubble, right? Right? We have nothing in our life is bothering us. Now again, in my gerontology class, because it talks about caregiving, I often made it personal and what I was going through with my own aged mother who was healthy till the very end. And I have health issues too. And I tell them the stories of my college experience, getting mono as a first semester sophomore, being in the infirmary for 11 days. Should I go home or should I stay there? I was afraid if I went home, I'd never go back. So I was in the infirmary on the campus for 11 days. And you know, my whole life changed. I had plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, but here I am.
So you can relate to that, and you
Absolutely.
see where the students
And I think it
benefit.
helps them. They feel better when they know we're not perfect. We don't lead perfect lives.
And didn't
Our cars break down.
exactly, and again, we still instill that academic rigor. So you can appreciate when Jamie said she really thought all the Stockton professors, I love how she wrote this, got into their top choice grad programs, shining stars. They all had perfect GREs. You're right, we forget, I truly had forgotten, you know, students perceive us as in that bubble. And I forgot, I was that undergrad student. I was that student who thought those, you know, professors at Marywood, you know, they were way up there. I love what you said. That's exactly what we're talking about, incorporating it. And it inspires them, especially now in these times where, look, it's always tough times in some way, right? But we're just, I think, hearing more about it than ever. The economic challenges and hardships. I have many students who are moms and dads, grandparents, grandmothers, grandfathers, students who are in so many roles, caring for the young, caring for aging parents.
Yep.
Great.
I had them do a personal time accounting assignment early in the semester. It's a way to teach some basic economic concepts, 3 ways to spend time, market work for pay, non-market work, they're going to school, and then leisure, then do a matrix, 7 days a week, 3 ways to spend time, a total of 168 days in the week, no matter how you cut it. And then, you know, are you spreading yourself too thin? Do you
Love
have
it.
the time that this course expects of you?
Love
And if
it.
not, rethink your priorities, reallocate your time, which could include dropping the class.
Hi, I have the pleasure of teaching 4 different wellness classes in the physical therapy program. And it is really such an evolution of learning. And to me, we need to start with the student. And so I make them explore their own wellness. And one thing that I love to use is something called active listening. And that's because I not only want them to listen to themselves, but I want them to listen to somebody else without speaking, which is so hard for people that want to go into a profession that they want to help people in. And I always find that to be very a great way for the students to connect and to learn. And then we just do a variety of activities throughout their 3 years where we start in the classroom and then we move to explore their own wellness on all those different dimensions that you were talking about. Mine are slightly different, but there's 6 levels of wellness that I use. And then all the different types of wellness they can gather on campus. So for example, like the wellness days and the different activities I usually have posted on my office door, all those activities that you were mentioning. And they don't even realize that. Like the meditation room.
Yep.
That was one of the things that they found last fall. And then the last part, the last year, is that they need to explore community wellness beyond the walls of our university. And that's been fun to see that growth over the 3 years.
So it sounds like we should be assessing, just from 2 comments so far, what we're doing, because that was kind of my hope, taking this to the level of research. Can we start assessing some of our alum? Because it sounds like a lot of us here are doing a great job of this. And I would hope we have more than 14%. I think we would, saying faculty care. I mean, because again, when Jamie wrote that letter, she wasn't just speaking psych faculty. She did note it was campus-wide. So thank you. And I was going to leave this to the end as a trick question, but you brought it up. Where is the meditation room on Stockton's campus?
I don't know, but I can find it on my app.
answer. I'm not saying a peep.
I know where it is. We have a Buddhist club, and we also, Pat Donahue, I do meditation. We offer it Tuesdays at 12:30 and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. But the meditation room is an end wing. When you are facing the counter to get your ticket, it's that room to the left. Used to be the old Osprey's Nest or something.
Oh, yeah.
Not one student in Psych of Wellbeing last semester knew that Stockton had a meditation room. And then they started using it, and they're all coming to class. Wow, oh, I feel so much better. I just kind of chilled. You all need to do that, and they really get it, and it then impacts all of your courses. When they come to academic advising, they come calmer.
I tried what's called a 1-minute meditation at the beginning.
Start over.
I've tried a 1-minute meditation at the beginning of class, but I haven't been consistent. So it's just for 1 minute, and it's I got it online from called the Stillness Experiment.
Yes.
And you just look, and you're to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right. I've also asked students, with no warning, stand up and just breathe. I think of Mary, stand up and breathe. Breathe, right? Breathe. And stretch, get that oxygen going. When students sit like this in class, I tell them to open their arms because
that's
you're
great.
cutting off the oxygen flow to your head, right to your brain.
This is such a rich conversation. I'm really glad that we're having it, and I wish more faculty and staff were actually here today because I think the dialogue is so important. As the holistic health coordinator, the minor coordinator, I have seen a burgeoning number of students come to this vicariously, but also intentionally. They're already taking general studies courses for the purpose of fulfilling that liberal arts component, but they've taken the ride to the holistic health arena, and it's amazing. I also want to point out that this group has a holistic health club that has anywhere between 30 to 50 attendees at any given time. So this is not just a faculty conversation where we could talk about how do we infuse it, but this is a groundswell that I am seeing as the coordinator of the holistic health minor, and I'm particularly encouraged. I mean, I have over 150 students. That's pretty remarkable. When I took the position 5 years ago, and I had maybe a handful of students that were graduating. So I think that it's also a generational piece. Like, are we reaching the millennials in a way that really matches what works for their well-being? And that's kind of what I have been exploring as I have students come by my office and we have these very meaningful conversations about what is wellness for them. And they're asked to actually put an e-portfolio together to complete the capstone portion of the holistic health minor. And they do have to demonstrate the community wellness that they provide, but first starting with the philosophy of their own health and well-being. They can't launch out there until they're here inside and within themselves in order to be able to have a meaningful holistic health philosophy. I think that's pretty remarkable in that some of these statistics, especially this executive summary, just 6% of graduates strongly agree they had a meaningful internship or job, worked on a long-term project, and were actively involved in extracurricular activities. That's striking. Nothing seems to be sustainable because everything's so quick, right? So where is meaning in life here on campus that's sustainable? And I think that's really the compelling question that I would like to put on the table. And those who actually said strongly agree, having all 6 of the experiences during their college time, only less than 3%. So, I think these data here really can help drive a plan going forward. I agree that the ELOs begin to map out ways of wellness and meaningful holistic living here on campus. And I agree that the alum we may be able to capture some of those data. But I think that a real intentional way about measuring it here on our campus would be innovative And I think it would be culturally relevant as we move to this university status. Will there be more stressors of faculty? And what are faculty doing to take care of themselves in order to model it? And so I think these are sort of some of the questions that I came today. And I really, really appreciate the dialogue because I think it's crucial for our campus. Thank you.
I don't think that you need to go to N-Wing to meditate. I think you can find a spot. I can try to find calm anywhere. I mean, I can do work in a bus station, and I literally have. So I don't think you have to go to N-Wing. You just find a spot, however noisy it might be, and then try to just calm your inner self, okay? Calm your inner self. One of the reasons our students might not say yes to all those is that they're so stretched in so many directions. Most of my students, if they know there's a student senate, now they know because I tell them, they don't know who the senators are, they don't know what the student senate is supposed to be doing for them, they don't know what it meets, they don't have time to go to meetings if they did know when it meets. They're just, you know, they're going from class to class to class, 2 jobs, family responsibilities, commuting, there just aren't enough hours in the day. There aren't enough hours in the day. So I came to mindfulness meditation, mindful eating through John Kabat-Zinn. Wherever you go, there you are.
On the opposite side of the spectrum, I think all of it's wonderful and mindfulness, but we deal with students often that are having academic issues. And one of the things that I've been coming across is like, well, things are better now. They've changed my meds. Now, we have got a measurable proportion of students on this campus that are on something. Some of them sell them, most of them don't. But you know, how does that play into the idea of a holistic and mindful life when you're being medicated to do it?
It's a huge, huge problem. I would be happy to do a brown bag just on that and how to guide our students. I'm willing to, because as a psychologist, I do not have privileges to prescribe medication. But because I'm a psychologist, many students have come to me and said, you know, Professor, same thing, I'm better now that I'm off. I was on 10 different meds. Could we initiate some more campus-wide dialogue, get some reputable professionals with expertise in this area to do some student talks, because it is a crisis.
They can't function without them.
I know. It's a crisis. Great comment.
Another issue that I've seen with our students is within health behaviors, sleeping is a huge issue. A lot of them don't get enough sleep, and what I've actually, in my class last year, 75% of them listed that as their #1 health behavior that needed to change, lack of sleep. And I shared with them that when you have a lack of sleep, that then causes so many other issues. You're cranky, you can't focus, you can't get things done, you're more stressed. And so that was really a revelation that I haven't seen before. So many students, and I think it has a lot to do with they're doing too much, as all the other speakers have talked about. Our students are so actively involved in so many different aspects beyond the college that there's too much going on in their lives. But I really have found that sleep is a huge problem.
So that too, maybe we could initiate some more dialogue for our students. And I think we have to have multiple presentations. You know, if we have one, students can't make that one, another one. The medication issue, the sleep, and in psycho-well-being, just real quick to add to that, both of those issues come up. Students will be open and disclose, appropriately so, because I remind them what you say in this classroom must be appropriate, and it could leave the classroom, gossip. But they've talked about getting away, more healthy, and the class helped them get away from those medications. Same thing with sleep. I know sleep is so precious and vital. And there's just this culture, I think, right now in our country of go without, push yourself, do more. But how then do you get that happy brain I put up? You can't. We need to get that great, this is great.
Well, I have a brain dysfunction which requires me to take medicine so I can sleep, right? And speaking about student meds, I actually had a student apologize to me once. He said, "I'm sorry for my behavior. I was off my meds."
Oh.
Now, I know the issue of privacy, but if I've had a student that I think is troubled, I might call the Learning Access Center and say, I know you can't tell me if this student is with you, but maybe you could reach out to him or her to try to help them. Sleep deprivation is a national concern.
Huge.
Right? And I've had the problem for 30 years. So I've been trying any which way to sleep better, but I have resorted to medications. One last point. In my gerontology class specifically, and I weave it into my others, I talk about nutrition. I mean, they come to class having not eaten or drunk anything all day, whether it's 8:30, 12:30, 2:30, 4:30, and what they eat or drink is garbage. It's just, it's just garbage.
It is.
Because when they're eating on the run, mostly what's available is just junk food. No nutritional value whatsoever, a lot of empty calories, a lot of sugar, right? So students need to know more about nutrition.
And if I could add to that, one of the most exciting things that happened in psycho-wellbeing this past semester, when we did several exercises with the mindful eating. One student loves those little mini Reese's peanut butter cups, the mini ones. And she admitted, she used to just pop them in. She said, now that we've done it mindfully, I don't even like it. It doesn't even taste good. Then other students were trying it at home and came in and said, can I comment? I tried such and such food, eating mindfully, and yeah, I really don't like it. That's off, and it was always a junk food. It's off my list, eating healthier. And again, thank you for seeing the value of this, because I know, I think what you said is so true. We need more faculty on board, because I know some faculty are critical. We need to be tough. We don't have time to do meditation or the narratives. What's 10 minutes of class time if you're impacting, and a student is feeling cared for? Our students just need these role models. And when I did all that advising with those two students from the SIRE course, one time we went to a coffee house just to sit and chat. We're all busy. It's hard to make the time, but just that little extra time. So again, nutrition, love that comment. Love it.
I can infuse it into the class coverage.
Absolutely.
Kind of hard to do it in econometrics, but in economics for all ages.
Yeah, that is great that you're doing that. And I learned from you. I didn't know you're doing all this in class. This is great.
Report, financial literacy report. They pick a topic that's near and dear to them and do a semester-long report.
We have time for one last question.
I feel terrible pressure. I want to speak to another part of that study that has to do with the meaningful experiences.
Yes.
And I think there's an economic issue here with our students being able to afford to do this. And we know how important I'm a career center person, so we know from the minute they walk in the door here, they should be trying to do things like joining activities, participating in other things on campus, but yes, they have families, they have jobs. We have an alarming number of students who work 25, 30, 40 hours a week. So I guess I wonder, as an academic institution, what are we doing to address that reality? We're telling students, yeah, you need a college degree. Yeah, I'm coming here, I'm putting myself deeply into debt. How are we addressing that? I know we're trying to raise scholarship money, but,
This may be anathema, but I tell students to rethink whether or not they need a college education. Maybe you could find your way to happiness and well-being without going into debt, however much. College is not necessarily the be-all and end-all route to success.
For everyone.
Christine, we thank you so much for your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming today.